So I've been kind of holding off on doing this video, the wallet demo, just because it's been kind of slow going and it's still not quite to my liking, and there's still pieces missing and all that. But I guess yeah, perfect moment isn't going to come, so I might as well just show it off as it is. I think you'll get the picture. So yeah, I got it running in Chrome and also Firefox. That's because it uses local storage, and if you have it two in the same browser, it collides on local storage. So for the time being, I have to, if I'm doing two wallets at once, I got to be in different browsers. I can address that later. Perhaps I'll touch on that later in this video. But yeah, sort of yeah, I've been doing it with the idea that this will be a mobile app. You'll probably use it in your browser if we really want to package it in as like an installed app. I mean, that's a possibility, but yeah, you never know what the app stores are going to say about this stuff going forward. So yeah, it's kind of made in the browser. I made all the buttons big, like it's ready for mobile. So that is still kind of the idea. But yeah, for the time being, it's just a browser app. It's basic JavaScript. I'm using Tailwind CSS to kind of make it look a little bit nice, though not, it could be better. But yeah, it's fairly vanilla JavaScript under the hood. So I've been learning that as we go. As I mentioned, I'm not an experienced GUI programmer, or even like an experienced JavaScript programmer. So it's been yeah, a little bit of a slow grind, but I'm getting there, and it's not total spaghetti code. I kind of took my time to do sort of a model view controller type thing. But yeah, I may as well just start showing it off. I mean, it has a menu. I can't show the scan because it'll try and take the camera, which I'm using for this recording. But yeah, sort of the idea is you want to connect a wallet, and I got the terminus set up, so that's the balance. So I can connect the other one as well. So then, yeah, if you click on that, you get some info, you get the ping and all that, and you can disconnect. So one thing I do is I store the beacon, the one that's last used. Well, there's really only one slot, so it won't overwrite a previous one. But if it doesn't have one, like if I forget it, it'll just use the next one. But if I do it like that, yeah, it'll remember the one, so you can just connect it. And now actually auto connecting is then a thing to make it convenient, so that the next time you visit the browser in the web, it knows how, once it loads, it knows how to automatically connect to your set wallet provider. So I don't have that automated, but it's but once you set it up once, it's like easier. You don't have to copy paste that in, it remembers it. So that's local storage. So the idea here is you want to connect it upstream to an app. So I got the Moon Money Mover, which is something I demoed in previous videos. But yeah, so you click, there's an app button. The icon's not rendering very well in Chromium because I'm using the emoji money with wings. Yeah, so I can generate and connect on both ends. So if I copy and paste that one there, use it, it'll connect there. Copy and paste there, it'll connect there. So on the wallet, before it's fully connected, but on the connection it's providing 0 sats, because the default is that you haven't authorized any sats to be spent on the app yet. So it's saying, hey, we got a connection, but the connection says, hey, we don't have any money yet. And then so on the wallet, you get this screen, which is admittedly a bit cluttered and it might need a little bit of work, but you could say, all right, if I've got, so it shows you have 9,000 available, so you can authorize 4,000. So if you go set, that'll take you back there, and so then that 4,000 got sent up there, and here you can see in progress. There's this socket session, which, but yeah, you can at any point you can kind of readjust how many you have. And yeah, likewise here, you can get those Satoshis authorized up. So it'll show you, all right, well, here's how many you have, and here's how many you've authorized. And yeah, you can disconnect that and, reconnect it. I'll do it the other way, so I can copy that and paste that there. And yeah, get those connected, and then yeah, it did remember that it was authorized. So how to actually do that is still, to always go to 0 and all that. That's a discussion to have. But yeah, certainly we have the capabilities there, all programmable. So yeah, we've got this. So we had here that this socket session, it was in the past, it did 0 transactions. It didn't do anything. So that's in the log. Now I don't have the drill down. I do have all the like data structures. I just haven't like put it on screen. Actually, that's most of the work, is like tracking all the data structures in memory to track what happened in the socket. But yeah, here we go. Like I can start moving sats. So I can, yep. So I did a transaction of 10 sats. We decremented there, and I might as well move them back so we can, yeah, go back to zero. So it's those two transactions, 0 sats. Yeah, let's move 111. So there, yeah, we got 3 transactions, and then yeah, so that's what's shown on screen is just the net of what happened there. So yeah, as I mentioned, I do have the memory structure. So yeah, like the idea is to make the click there actually go expand, and then get a breakdown of all the sub actions that it took while that socket session was in progress. So right now it's still not very impressive how it animates, but I think like if you have drilled down into this, you're seeing in real time the socket session. Clicking the transaction will have, you'll see like, okay, requested an invoice came back, got provided, and then the pre-image came, and therefore completed the transaction. So you'll see all those kind of spelt out in long form in the drill down screen, which I haven't built yet. So yeah, it does work in Fiat. I don't have it set up for this demo. There's a bit of work to actually do the accounting here in Fiat. It's fairly straightforward. Like it'll do it, So if you're operating, if it's $10 then your socket session can actually break it down in those terms. So yeah, that's the intention there. So yeah, let's go into the menu here. Oh yeah, just one quick thing on the permissions, because of course you can redo this. You can also toggle so the connection upstream, so the provider that's the terminus in this case, but it could be another wallet, it could be something else. They have their permissions for whether they can send or receive. But then since we're providing the connections for upstream on that, we can deauthorize a receive or deauthorize a send. So if you're like a merchant or something, you're not going to be sending anybody money. You're only there to like receive money. So it would be sensible to set these permissions such that the other guy knows that they're not going to be able to request any money from you. It's entirely a one-way process. So yeah, that all works. It's not reflected up in the GUI here, but yeah, like those permissions are propagated. And then yeah, also when we do the breakdown of the transactions, and then like, hey, you tried to request a payment, but it said, hey, that's not authorized, to actually get that error. That's something that I need to put in the protocol still. So like if some of these transactions fail due to not enough money or invalid permissions or whatever reason, temporary disruption or whatever, you get that breakdown of why with an error message. And that's, I think, yeah, also pretty important for getting this protocol to maturity. Okay, yeah, so in the menu, so yeah, there's those connections. You can, it's the same as clicking them on the main screen. There's the about screen where it just has links or whatever. You can get to the wallet source and all that. So then there's a few things like if there's errors, it does error sends you an error screen to click OK, and then it puts you back on the main screen. So that's all kind of built in. So yeah, storage settings, I don't have that implemented. This button does nothing right now. But as I mentioned with the local storage, there's a conflict if you have two of these wallets open at once. They're both writing their transaction log to the same thing. So I really got to like multiplex that to kind of like have different profiles. So if you have a profile for one app, it'll have the connection settings for that app. But then if you open another instance, it'll recognize that, oh yeah, somebody's already using those settings. So like, let's start new settings or use like the second backup settings or whatever. Just so, because yeah, it's just pretty non-intuitive right now. If you do have two things right there, you'll get things showing up in your transaction log that you didn't do on that instance because it was the other instance that overwrote your settings. So yeah, they'll be the and then also if these like logs get very long, like if you're doing lots of microtransactions, you could get several megabytes worth of storage, and then the browser gets unhappy after about 10 megabytes from what I'm reading. So like, yeah, to be able to just clear your settings, or like clear everything that's older than a couple days or something like that. So that's all stuff that we need to do. Let me think. Yeah, so the scanning, that all works, and I said I can't demo it, but yeah, to be able to scan the QR code for the connection, or also Bolt 11. So the next thing I'm going to show here is create a Bolt 11 to receive. So so this wallet's meant to be like a socket behavior. That's the reason for this to exist. However, you still want to like convey that this is a Lightning wallet. If you want to manually use it, there's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why we should stop it. Particularly like if you get a fresh account with 0 satoshis on it, you probably want to like fund it the first time or something like that. So you want to be able to, move money from your Breeze wallet or whatever into this Moneysocket account kind of thing. So yeah, you can request. So if I want to request 100 sats, it's going to request that off the wire and display it. And then I can copy that. So then if I want to pay that invoice, it'll pay that, and then yeah, it'll show up in the log as manual receive. I should. Oh yeah, and this I haven't actually tested it, though I did write the code. If your balance available is in dollars or fiat or whatever balance, to be able to request an invoice for $10 or $1 or something like that, it'll do the conversion. I wrote the code for it. I just haven't tested it. So that's all intended to work. And then, yeah, you want in the log to say that, hey, you received $10. And then, yeah, also, there's a lot of like, once you start seeing all this stuff on screen, you start to see some of the more complicated concerns, like, to drill into it, to say, all right, I received $10, but how many Satoshis was that at that point in time? Here's the timestamp. Here's the de facto conversion rate at that point in time. Was that a fair rate? Actually moving the money over the network, there was a network fee associated. We'd ideally want that to be reflected in there to say, all right, you got $10, but it cost you, a tenth of a penny in routing fees or something like that. And then also, kind of the idea that Moneysocket is kind of set up to be custodial. I mean, of course, you can run your own Moneysocket terminus, but that's going to be more complicated. So you kind of assume, real world users are going to, have it custodial, and then custodians are going to probably have their fee or something associated with it. So if you are moving money, to actually get the receipt, to say, all right, well, moving this $10, here's how many Satoshis it was, here's how many, here's the routing fee, here's the 0.01% that my service provider took, and all these sort of things. And then if I'm buying goods, maybe those goods were denoted in US dollars and I have Canadian dollars, to say, all right, well, here's what the merchant's price was in dollars. It was meant to be $5 US, so that was like 7 Canadian dollars or something like that. And here's the conversion rate. So yeah, you can get very complicated, and the idea is to go there in the protocol, and hopefully also, prior to doing this transaction, basically in the barter interface here, to hopefully get all those receipts available to say, hey, if I'm going to sell you this, you're going to give me this, or if I'm going to send you money, I'm going to get this in return. And prior to clicking OK, I get that full breakdown of all the things, including these micro fees that various intermediaries might take on that. So then the final thing. So yeah, 14 minutes already. Holy smokes. Just priorities. So yeah, we got to get all those issues I talked about. But yeah, I want to get Sparkshot in this, because I think this is I'm building this with this in mind, of like, okay, we're gonna be selling. There's some app that takes micropayments, and then I think I'm not too far away from actually implementing sort of the connection interface somewhere in here. At least like put like an experimental tab here. So like, hey, experimental, yes, enable Moneysocket, and then you'll be able to connect this upstream connection to something like something like Sparkshot, and then have your spending wallet kind of ready to go as you're doing microtransactions. and then as you're seeing, those go by, you can actually see that animate as you're buying and that kind of thing. I think that'll be a powerful demo to just get people sort of imagining different apps that could be in the place of SparkShot. The other, so that's one priority, is kind of connecting the dots on the demo. The other thing is, like, I have for developers that show up, and there's been a couple of people that have come in the Telegram, they're excited about Moneysocket, but it's then a lot of work for them to actually get running Moneysocket because they got to run their own node. I think a very basic custodial site, like, I don't want to get in the custodian business. That's not my cup of tea. But to put up a website that's just like, you get a username and password and you can get a Moneysocket connection with a maximum of, say, 1,000, 2,000 Satoshis, and then it has a warning on it like, yeah, don't use this for real money. This is just like for you to play around with. I think that's a fairly straightforward app to kind of put up on the web that's connected to the Terminus app. And then in the same way that you'd configure an account, just like you logging in, you can create a new Moneysocket account, and then you can get your wallet. So this wallet will be hosted on the web somewhere. Like, we already got socket.money wallet. So I'll replace that with the better wallet once it's ready. So somebody that's learned about Moneysocket for the first time, they get the wallet, they create a username and password, they fund it with like 100 sats, and then already they're then be able to start spending on SparkShot. If we can get that working within 20 minutes of somebody learning about Moneysocket, that I think that's very good, because right now it's like way too hard to actually run this software. Okay, that's too long, but yeah, thanks for listening, and happy to discuss anything in the Telegram.